Siobhan Kennedy. Well, earlier I spoke to the Business Secretary, Vince Cable. I asked him if he was sympathetic to the Banking Commission's view that the separation between retail and casino banking should be a lot tougher.
Well, we are separating the retail and casino banking. That's the whole point of the ring-fencing proposal. And the way the government's currently proposing to proceed is based on the recommendations of Sir John Vickers and his team. They laboured over this for well over a year. And we want now to proceed with it to get it into law. Now, the Commission today, which actually endorses that approach, in a very radical approach, so raises this kind of secondary question about what happens if it develops leaks, if the bankers find a way around it. And there are some perfectly sensible ideas about how you review this. They want, I think, to anticipate a lot of hypothetical possibilities. We've also got to think about those. But the key thing is we've got to get this change brought into the law to make our banks safe, because they're still dangerous.
The problem is that the culture doesn't exist to do it without something a lot tougher than what's being envisaged.
Well, what is being envisaged is tough legislation. We're not relying on self-regulation. We don't trust the banks to sort this out themselves. And that's why the government is coming forward with the separation of retail and casino banking through law, through a ring-fencing system. Now, you can ask the question, well, what happens if it doesn't work well and you have to have some backup action? Well, let's confront those questions when it goes through Parliament. But let's not pretend that what the government is doing isn't radical. It is the most radical reform in the Western world.
You see, there is one very, very high-profile issue which really describes the nature of the problem, and that's the continuing trouble with interest rate swaps, which enormous number of small and medium-sized businesses was missold. Everybody's agreed they were missold. And yet we come across case after case after case in which ordinary small businesses are still having to pay for these swaps. Why can't you intervene in the market there?
Well, I am intervening, actually. I've taken personal interest in this. I met the chairman of the regulator 2 days ago. I met the campaigning groups. The Financial Services Authority is now trying to deal with this, trying to ensure that genuine small businesses who took these swaps in good faith, or often were required to take them, are not penalised. We've got to set a process in train. You're quite right. It is a massive scandal. And I'm hoping over the next few weeks there will be a proper set of rules to ensure that those small companies that have been missold will be compensated and help to deal with the swap arrangements.
Well, that deals with the sort of content of the problem, but the issue, the specific issue tonight, is whether they should still have to go on servicing these missold products. It isn't just they want the compensation, they need to stop having to pay terribly urgently needed monies into servicing these bent products.
Well, the financial regulator has said that those cases should be dealt with in a proper way by the banks by not enforcing settlement. I have myself written to the regulator to rub home this point. We do want genuine justice for those small companies, and the banks must behave properly.